Fairy Tale Corner presents Snow White Fairy Tale.
Once upon a time, in a small cottage nestled deep within a lush forest, lived a kind-hearted girl named Snow White. She had beautiful ebony hair, skin as fair as snow, and lips as red as the ripest apples. Snow White's gentle nature and radiant beauty made her the fairest in all the land, much to the envy of her wicked stepmother, the Queen. The Queen possessed a magic mirror, which she would consult every day, asking, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And each time, the mirror replied, "You, my Queen, are the fairest in the land." But as Snow White grew older, her beauty began to surpass that of the Queen, and one fateful day, the mirror answered differently. Snow White is now the fairest in the land. Filled with jealousy and rage, the Queen ordered her huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and dispose of her. However, the huntsman, moved by Snow White's innocence, could not bring himself to harm her. Instead, he warned her of the Queen's wicked plans and urged her to run away and never return. Alone in the vast forest, Snow White wandered until she stumbled upon a small cottage hidden amongst the trees. She entered the cottage to rest, only to find that it belonged to 7 dwarfs who worked in the nearby mines. When the dwarfs returned home, they were surprised to find Snow White, but they were kind-hearted and welcomed her warmly. Snow White offered to take care of the cottage, cook their meals, and keep everything tidy. In return, the dwarfs promised to protect her from any harm. Snow White and the dwarfs lived happily together, with each day bringing new adventures and joys. Meanwhile, the Queen, deceived by the mirror, believed Snow White to be dead. But her wicked heart could not rest until she knew for sure. Disguised as an old peddler, the Queen made her way to the dwarf's cottage, armed with a poisoned apple. The apple was so enchanted that a single bite would make the victim fall into a deep sleep, from which they could only be awakened by true love's kiss.
The Queen offered the apple to Snow White, who innocently took a bite. As soon as the poisoned fruit touched her lips, Snow White fell into a deep slumber, and the Queen fled, believing her wicked plan had succeeded. When the dwarfs returned home and discovered Snow White's lifeless form, they were devastated. They mourned her for days until they realized that Snow White's beauty was still preserved, as if she were merely sleeping. The dwarfs could not bear to bury her, so they crafted a glass coffin and placed her inside, surrounding her with flowers. Word of Snow White's fate spread throughout the land, and a handsome prince heard the tale. Determined to see the sleeping beauty for himself, he rode to the dwarf's cottage. When he laid eyes on Snow White, he was captivated by her ethereal beauty. Overwhelmed with love, the prince leaned in and kissed Snow White gently on the lips. As soon as his lips touched hers, the spell was broken. Snow White awakened, her eyes sparkling with life once again. The prince and Snow White fell in love, and the dwarfs rejoiced at her miraculous awakening.
Snow White bid farewell to her newfound friends, promising to visit them whenever she could. She embarked on a new journey with the prince, leaving behind the dwarfs and the cottage in the forest, but always carrying the memory of their kindness in her heart. And so, Snow White and the prince lived happily ever after, their love story becoming a legend that would be passed down through generations.
They ruled the kingdom with kindness and compassion, bringing prosperity and joy to all the land. Snow White's gentle nature and the prince's wise leadership made them beloved by their subjects. The dwarfs continued their work in the mines, always cherishing the memory of their time with Snow White and the happiness they had shared.
Years passed, and Snow White and the prince had a beautiful daughter, a princess who inherited her mother's ebony hair and fair skin. The kingdom celebrated the birth of the princess with great joy, and her arrival brought a renewed sense of hope and happiness. As the princess grew older, Snow White shared the story of her own adventures with her, emphasizing the importance of kindness, love, and the strength to overcome adversity. The princess listened intently, inspired by her mother's tale. In time, the princess became a wise and benevolent ruler, just like her parents. She continued their legacy of compassion and fairness, ensuring that the kingdom remained a place of harmony and prosperity.
And so, the tale of Snow White, the kind-hearted girl who triumphed over evil, lived on as a timeless reminder of the power of love and goodness in the face of darkness. The kingdom thrived under the princess's rule, and the memory of Snow White and her remarkable journey remained forever etched in the hearts of the people, reminding them to embrace kindness and seek the beauty within.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click the bell icon.